Desires, love, kappas, and cucumbers? This week we are fighting off our selfish desires and the Otter Empire. Of course, we are talking about Sarazanmai. Welcome, anime fans and foodies, to Anime Bento. Each week we review a different anime and we give you some fun recipes to go along with it. Joining me this week is
Hello, everybody. It's David or Epically Dave.
David. Thanks for joining me this week. I'm excited to talk about this anime with you.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Every week, we bring you some fun recipes to go along with the show. This week, we have Koji's Family Soba, chicken broth, soba noodles, garlic, ginger, edamame with some fried pork belly, and a soft boiled egg. This is bound to save the family's soba shop. For our cocktail this week, it's the Kappa Cucumber Cooler. Gin, your choice of floral liqueur, cucumber juice, lime, and mint. It's going to have you screaming, Sarazanmai! And finally, for our mocktail, it's a Shiriko Dama, pineapple, orange, and mango juice with some sliced lime, honey, and most importantly, boba. Hopefully, this drink will help you achieve your heart's desire. Now, let's jump into the show. Sarazanmai is about 3 middle school boys who break a kappa statue and turn into kappas themselves. The only way to revert to their human form is to fight kappa zombies and retrieve their Shirikodama, a mythical organ that holds a person's desire. But here's the catch. To defeat the zombies, the boys must work together, and in doing so, they are forced to reveal their deepest and most shameful secrets to one another. Sarazanmai first aired in April of 2019, and you can stream this on Crunchyroll. Spoiler warnings. Warning, the following contains information that could ruin your anime viewing experience. Turn back now if you're not caught up. David, what was your first impression of the show?
So, first off, just a little disclaimer Miguel and I watched this first episode together, and
In
we were.
public?
No, because there would have been some concerns if this was watched in public, but it was. It was a wild ride. We watched the full episode and we were just laughing, thinking, what did Jimmy get us into? This is not what we were expecting whatsoever. But I was not mad. There are only 11 episodes of this whole series, and I was thoroughly impressed, incredibly excited. As somebody who loves diving into classical cultures, mythologies of the world, so on and so forth, the fact that they came up with an anime about a kappa storyline, I was so happy. Not to mention the gay elements mixed into it as well. But overall, yeah, we were just kind of stunned at like what we were watching as a first impression. Made me want to continue watching to figure out what in the world was going on.
I just remember when I first watched, I can't even remember how I stumbled upon this. For all of you listening and just, tuning in, or you don't know me or whatnot, I just go through Crunchyroll and I kind of just pick whatever I feel like. I just kind of go through all of them and see what cover art catches my eye, and I just hit play and then I watch a series all the way through.
Judging a book by its cover?
Of course, I always judge an anime by it's title first, then cover.
Fair
Titles
enough.
have been really hard right now because majority of anime right now is like, I've been reincarnated as a whatever, or I died and I turned into this. But yeah, I definitely look through and I see what I'm feeling, and just like this one's cover art was very colorful and splashy. So I gave it a try, and I don't know. I wasn't shocked. It takes a lot to shock me, but was excited. There's a lot of singing in it, and I love a catchy song, and they sing every episode. So I love this anime so much. It's a hard recommend to people. I think when we start really talking about it, you'll understand why it's a hard recommend. You guys have heard we've already gone through My Dress Up Darling a couple weeks ago. So I said that wasn't an airplane anime, which is like, you can't watch this on an airplane. This one is definitely not a watch in public anime.
No, no, it is not. The whole point in what they are trying to do, and the visuals that this show creates, yeah, it's definitely not something you want to be caught watching in public at all.
Well, talking about the visuals, let's just dive into the story and all that jazz. What did you think of the the style of it? I really love the style of this anime. It's very like poppy or like pop art kind of ish when they turn into the kappas and they have to like take the desire out. I really that's what really hooked me.
Yeah, it was very because a lot of anime always have a lot of I don't know, or I don't even know if it's just anime because I also think of Power Rangers, but there's always shows where they have those transformation kind of moments. Digimon when they go to Digivolve, for example. This definitely has that when our main characters turn into their kappas. And it's funny the way they do that with the now I can't think of the word again. It's our mocktail, the Shirikodama uh, is taken out of them so they can become the kappas. Again, creates quite the visual. It's taken out of their back end. It's still fun because the whole point in the battles, quote unquote battles, is to essentially do the same thing to these kappa zombies. And again, it creates that whole visual. Once they're kappa, they're then having to take the Shiri Kodama out of the zombies' behinds, and it's so funny. It's great, but you're right. Like the musical aspect of it, phenomenal. They're catchy, they're fun, weird little dances that they're doing. I was all for it. That's
Oh,
probably, I think, what sold me most right at episode one.
so, I guess story-wise is like we said in the little synopsis of this anime, they have to extract the desire out of people, and then that is what helps, I don't know, helps them transform back into humans, and we learn in this anime that they're fighting another kind of organization. So there's, like, the Kappas, and this one upset me. I love otters. My favorite YouTube videos are otters, especially when they're holding hands. So I was upset that otters are the villains in this anime.
Oh, it's definitely a first because we're not used to seeing otters as the villains. They're
No.
always the good guys.
Yeah, and they should be. These otters are definitely up to something no good. They are horrible people or horrible animals. These otters in this show. Normal otters I love, these otters I despise. Especially what they do to some of our characters. So they have to extract the desire and then they feed it to the main kappa and he gives them a plate. And if you get a gold plate, you are able to make a wish, and if you get regular plates, that what was it? I think it's like you gotta get 5 plates, to exchange
Yes,
that for a gold plate, and then you can make a wish.
correct. Yep, there are 5 silver plates,
Yeah.
what they call, I think, hope dishes that you have to, work towards.
What I really was shocked about when I was watching this series in the beginning is that I didn't know that their secrets will be revealed to each other. That was gonna be an ongoing thing. Oh, wow. This show makes you feel like, it made me feel vulnerable because every time they would extract a desire and they would feed it to the main cop, I believe his name is Cappy or Copy, and
Peppy.
Kepi, and then they would reveal a secret of theirs to each other. And that was like, I don't know. How do you feel about what did you feel about that?
It definitely gave an element of, like you said, vulnerability more than anything because the show starts out fun and crazy and wild and just, you're just there for a good time, but next thing you know, I mean, again, only 11 episodes, but the story gets deep.
The story really flows really well. I always think about filler episodes and if there are any filler episodes. I really do feel like when you only have 11, there's not really any filler. There are slow moments, but I think everything leads to something to move on, to move the story forward. I don't know, how did you feel about the battles? How did you feel about, because everything was very repetitive. They didn't really have to fight too much to extract the desire out of people. They sang their song. But, I felt this anime was less about fighting and more about story.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah, I mean, even the final battle wasn't, again, it was more fun than it was like crazy epic, but it was still exciting to me. I did like the story of where it was going, like the final decision that needed to be made in order to save a life. Not sure if we wanted to talk about that yet or not, but it was ultimately the pacing was good in my opinion for what it had to offer. I don't think there were really any crazy filler moments or episodes. Like you said, 11 episodes, they basically just made it into a long movie.
I definitely, man, 11 episodes was actually not enough for me. I really need a season 2. I really need more, honestly, but
Absolutely.
and this is an original work. There is no manga source material. It's just kinda out of someone's brain.
I did read up on that too after I finished watching the show because it had me thinking of when did the show come out? Is there going to be a season two? Was really upset that there's not whatsoever. But when it's mentioned about like the out of whack ideas that what's his name Kukiri had?
Yeah.
No, Kunihiko.
Oh, Ikuhara, yeah.
Yeah, Ikuhara. The ideas that he had, he basically said you give the approvers essentially enough to work with to get that approval, but then you add the crazy ideas afterwards. That way, since it's already being greenlit, you're good to go. I would like to know at what point was this what were the crazy moments that were left out and what was added on? And why did we not get greenlit for a season 2? Is it because he would rather ask for forgiveness than permission?
I well, yeah, I would love a season 2. I do believe there is, like, a little, like, a couple of chapters out there, some kind of side manga thing. I believe there was a short story written with these characters in it. I don't know if it takes place after or during the show. I know there's a little, like, extra stuff. Well, let's dive into the characters, and then we can kinda get into our favorite moments, and then everything's out on the table. We really have 3 main characters, or 3 boys. I love this group of friends so much. But let's start off with Kazuki. He is our main guy. What are kinda your thoughts on Kazuki?
I really like him. I didn't like him more towards the end, but it was more so because of his lack of understanding and the way he was handling the situation. More specifically, like with Enta and the stealing of the dishes and things like that. But ultimately, I still really liked him. He does things for his little brother. Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. He is a complicated character. I like that this show, again, within 8 episodes, makes you both like and hate all 3 of them. It makes them human. Best way to put it. It makes all 3 of them more human than what you'd find in your typical anime.
Very much so. I definitely anytime I watch anime, I always try to I always find a little bit of myself in like all these characters. I really felt Kazuki is very driven by most of his stuff. He's driven by guilt. He's driven
Yes.
by guilt and shame, I think. We find out that Kazuki, I don't know if I think it's his dad is his real dad and his mom is a stepmom, right?
See, that confused me too because I don't know. From the way they just left it out by saying that his grandpa just outright said that his mom was a whore, and then that was it. And I'm like, Okay. That's what his grandpa says on his deathbed, and then he dies. And so he realizes that his family that he's living with is not his actual family, but they never go in to explain who his father was, just that he does meet his mother, his real mother, but he never goes and meets his real dad. If that wasn't his real dad, I don't know.
See, I think it
It's
was his real
weird.
dad. I think it is his real dad, and that his mom probably was someone who kind of just
Dipped.
dipped. Here's what I'm thinking. This isn't one of the episodes, and it's a cold open to one of the episodes too, where it's like Kazuki he's a little boy, and his grandfather's dying, and his grandfather's last words are to Kazuki telling him that his mom was a whore. And then he dies right away, which is insane. An insane last words to say. Like, I don't know why you felt like you had to get that out. But
Right before his last breath. Like that, what a way to
uh,
go out.
I know. Just I also have problems with all of this. I have problems that no one really addressed it. I wish the family would have addressed it. I felt this would have helped so much with
Yes.
Kazuki. I feel the family never addressed what Grandpa said as he died because he felt this like Kazuki holds this guilt in him, and I do think it's a poor choice of words that his grandpa said. I don't know if he meant that or meant kind of just your mom is someone who didn't stick around. She moved on to another guy. Not that
Right.
because the way he says it makes it seem like she sleeps around a lot or she moves, but maybe she just because we do meet her later in the anime and she doesn't seem like a horrible person. We
Right.
only see her in shadow, but she seems very sweet and nice. Maybe she was going
Mhm.
through a rough time, is what I'm thinking, and she wasn't able to raise Kazuki.
Right.
But yeah, so long story short, he doesn't his mom is not his mom, and he feels this weird way about it. And then his parents have a kid together, and he feels he doesn't belong in this family. And through a series of unfortunate events, he gets his brother hit by a car, and his brother is now permanently in a wheelchair.
So let's rephrase that. He doesn't purposefully get his brother hit by a car.
Well,
He
accidentally.
Yeah, like, he is walking away from his little brother. His little brother does the little brother thing and tries to follow him without him realizing a car comes at a red light and hits him.
Yes, but if he would have stopped, because his brother was trying to talk to him, and he didn't want to hear any of it.
Mhm.
So if he would have stopped and listened, but I'm not placing blame on Cub. This is just an unfortunate event. It's no one's fault really, if that makes sense. I mean, it is a horrible thing, and yes, there's fault to be had, but it's just very accidental, all this stuff. Nothing was done with malice or on purpose, but Kazuki feels this guilt and he wants to make it out to his brother. He wants to just give his brother everything because he feels like he's taking something from him. I don't know. Does that sound good, or what do you think?
Yeah, yeah. No, that sounds about right.
Because his brother is a fan of this show that I don't know if it's a show or if it's just kind of like web thing or
Like
whatnot,
a
but everyone
VTuber kinda
watches.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, but it's so popular. There's a personality person called Sarah, and she comes on every day. And she gives you an item of the day, and you take pictures of with that item, and it's supposed to bring you good luck. Or I don't even know if you need to take pictures with it. I think you just need the item around you, right? Because one time
I
was kisses, and she was like, "Just get us a lot of kisses."
I don't even know.
The picture thing is Kazuki is faking that he is her, and he takes pictures dressed up as her to send to his brother because his brother's
Right.
such a big fan and he wants to make his brother happy, which is another thing that I think is just like Kazuki is guilt driven.
Mhm. I do like the amount of pink he wears.
Guys need to be wearing more pink. Just throwing it out there. Just it's a good color on guys. Salmon is good. That's a shade of pink. So just like he does have a great. He I think all three. Well, not Toei, but
Yeah, I
like
didn't really
the
like Toei's,
he's always in
clothes.
black. He's very
Yeah, but
emo.
yeah, and then at one point, he's wearing a shirt, it's almost like a sleeveless shirt, but it was I don't know, I didn't like it all that much. It made him look
Oh,
weird as an anime character.
I will say Kazuki is not afraid of color though.
Right.
So I love that. He's our main boy, and he's just like I love that. I don't know. I love that he's just like learning to forgive himself, or learning to let go of this pain that he's been holding on to towards the end. Does that make sense? Or how do you feel about it? How you said you don't like him towards the end. You liked him, and then you didn't like him.
It's not that I didn't let me rephrase that. It's not that I don't like him or didn't like him at a certain point. It's more so that this is my problem with shows is like the root of most conflict in storylines is literally just miscommunication. And when people don't know how to understand two sides of a story or know how to figure out a second or a different side of the story, they act out or lash out in anger, and that's what causes these whole plots. Again, like that's the whole point of the movie. I get it, but I don't know the way he reacts to the situation, and then even when someone is trying to tell him that it's not entirely what you think, he just continues to lash out instead of trying to be, an adult about it and figure it out for himself. But then again, he's also in the anime a 14-year-old boy.
I just feel like with him, it's that one of those things where it's I gotta fix everything, or there's so much going on that I need to like keep fixing it and fixing it. Like no matter what the problem is, I
Right.
have to keep trying to solve it. And if I didn't solve it, then I failed everyone.
Yeah, it definitely came off that way. You're right.
And I don't know even at the end if he really figured out himself. I think eventually his brother finds out that he has been dressing up like Sarah this
Yep.
time. After he tries to kidnap her and
Yep.
then take her place, which is very weird too. Um,
No, it's definitely again, like I said at the beginning, like it definitely humanizes each of the characters. Like it makes you love them and hate them in certain moments, and that's kind of more what I was trying to say about Kazuke. I love the guy. I think he's great and definitely a character that I really enjoy. I guess it's more so as far as like main characters go. I will say I don't know if I would particularly say he's my favorite main character.
Hmm. Well, I feel like I know who your favorite is, so I'm thinking
I
it's
d-
the next character we're gonna talk about. Or do you not have a
maybe
favorite?
I don't know if I had. I thought you were talking about in general.
Oh, no, just in this anime.
In this anime, don't know if I have a particular favorite. I do think Kazuki might still be my favorite despite all the characters and everything. But yes, yeah, the next character we're going to talk about, I do really like.
Okay, let's move on to our next guy, and I'm gonna say his name wrong. Enta?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so nice. If you know me in real life, I am very bad at saying names and remembering names, so that's a good one. So what do you think about him? I love his style. I love a guy with
Yes.
glasses, so
I like Enta. I really like Enta for two reasons specifically. One, a bit more of a personal note. I love that he's voiced by Justin Briner. For those who don't know, that is Midoriya in My Hero Academia. Also, fun fact, I did not realize that Toy is voiced by Rico Fajardo. I couldn't even tell. But anyway, when it comes to Enta, I really love the passion that he has for his best friend, but also, as we come to know, his crush. There is I don't even want to say there's romance because, quite honestly, the whole crush thing lasted an episode and that was it.
I don't know. I think
It
it's
was
more than
bits
an
and
episode.
pieces here and there, but like there was it wasn't consistent. And it definitely didn't end. It ended with nothing essentially. There was no. When I saw the whole like 3 years later at the end of the series, I was expecting to show a ring on it or something.
Oh, Rain, they're just in high
Oh, I
school.
guess they would be 17. Yeah, you're right, you're right. Okay, I take that back. I take that part back. But still, I would have enjoyed the fact that it would have been nice if they had hinted something of them still left them like maybe forming a relationship or something, but no, that was not a thing. But Enta has a crush on Kazuki, and that's essentially what his whole painful secret that he has to share with everybody. But then it ends up his episode didn't make much sense because it just kept like going on as if it were just fantasies or they were forgetting. I didn't know if Kepi had anything to do with that, if he erased him finding out or something. It was weird, but he's funny. He's of the three, he's definitely like the comic relief outside of Kepi, of course. But I don't know. I like his character. He is very sweet, very passionate, very determined to do what he can to make Kazuki happy.
I love this guy. He is definitely one of my favorites. I relate to him in the worst ways, if that makes sense. Like, you're in love with someone who's not in love with you kind of thing. That I feel like I can relate to. I don't know if you can. I don't know if any of our listeners can. I'm sure
Oh,
someone in the world
absolutely.
can. But just having a crush on someone, having that be your drive,
I know he definitely has a toxic relationship with himself in that regard, right? Because if that is your drive, knowing full well that that person is not going to be the one for you, but
uh,
you're still so dedicated to them. He would much rather almost essentially lose himself than lose his connection, and that is kind of something we can talk. What we planned on talking about later was part of the themes is connection with the story, and he'd much rather have it with him than without him.
everything he's done in the show, up to like the very last two episodes, has been for Kazuki in some way or another. There's a whole scene where so him and Kazuki are both soccer players and they have a little like area where they've drawn a fake goal on the wall and that's kind of where they practice. And it's a very sentimental area for them and it ends up getting trashed. So they clean it up and then the next day they come back and it's trashed again. Well, we get one of our little secret revealed moments and it turns out that Enta's been trashing it. And I don't know, what were you my thoughts was that he was trashing it felt like he was trashing it so that they would have to stay together or do it together. Does that make sense?
It does, but yeah, I don't know. I do kind of wish that there was a little bit more explanation for a few of these things, but that's what was frustrating about these only 11 episodes is that they could have had a whole other season going deeper into these small storylines.
Also, in that episode, he does steal the plates. I believe they have enough plates to make a wish, or they're like one away or something around that. And
Yeah,
he
one
does
away.
steal the plates. And again, that is another thing where it's a very toxic relationship with him. It's not a toxic relationship with Kazuki because Kazuki is a very loyal friend to him and always like is there for him as a friend only. And that's what's upsetting him because Kazuki is getting close to everyone else and he's getting jealous and he is definitely lashing out and he's been hurt. So there's so much of him that I relate to in the worst ways. It's so hard watching him.
It did me too, but in ways that I'm married now, but, like, in the past, yeah, I've had those kind of relationships with both myself and because of relationships I wanted with others, and it did kinda drag me in those exact same situations where I'm like, "Man, I don't wanna revisit that."
I do think he is really driven by Kazuki in the beginning. And I do believe Kazuki is one of his only friends. Because later in the season, it's weird saying later in the season when there's only 11 episodes, but towards the end, he gets shot protecting them. And he goes to the hospital, and Kazuki meets his parents. And then they're like, you were always a great friend to him, and you were one of his only friends. So there's also that kind of relationship. He doesn't really have anyone else.
Well, yeah, and there was even that flashback of when they first became friends. Enta was like, yeah, he was on his own before Kazuki comes up to him while he's sitting down and just basically says, "Hey, come play soccer with me. I'll be your friend. I'll play with you."
For me, it's that moment, not the soccer moment, but when he gets shot, is kind of the moment where he realizes I need to let go of Kazuki as a crush and kind of find my own happiness. I really do think a lot of this is we need to find our own happiness and not have it be relied on someone else.
I agree completely, but I think that's sort of a commonality that all 3 of our characters have, including, like, transitioning into, our next character, Toy. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Tui.
Tui? Oh, I thought it was pronounced Toy.
I always thought they said Tui. Is it Toy? It probably is Toy.
I don't it's
We could
fine,
just call
but
him Kuji.
that's fine, yeah, Kuji. All 3 of them have that same commonality where it's always about somebody else. Like, they're wanting to do it for somebody else. And it's because of their background is, like, the more and more you dive into the characters, Kuji being our 3rd main character, uh wants these dishes to make a wish to basically protect his older brother because they were involved in a murder in the past where when Kuji was a little boy, shoots somebody, but his little brother or his big brother was there to take the gun from him and shoot him, what, 2 more times, 3 more times? And then he becomes a wanted man.
Well, okay, let's not make it seem like they're just innocent people walking around. His brother is like a gangster.
Yeah, yeah. Like it definitely there was a lot more in-depth story to that. But Kuji was just a kid.
Yeah, and yeah, Kuji lives with his aunt and uncle, and they run a soba shop, I believe, because his parents have passed away. I do feel like there's a common thread of all 3 of our characters where it's just like something's made them feel that they were alone and they've been abandoned. Kazuki with his mom, and Enta with him just being a loner kid, and Kuji kind of losing his family, and his brother runs away and kind of starts his own life as this kind of gangstery kind of guy. And he gets wrapped up in some kind of crime and stuff. But it's not like his brother's doing this because he loves crime or whatnot. He's doing this to raise money for his little brother and to keep the shop alive and to just like protect him from the outside world
Which you don't really even get that full picture until the end.
when he dies.
Yes.
When his brother dies. Yeah, this
'Cause
a lot of this anime is definitely like exposition dump and one flashback real quick.
yep, they definitely provide, different perspectives as the story continues, but sometimes I feel like a little bit too late.
It would have been nice to kind of know his brother's motives because you go through a lot of this anime thinking his brother is a problem child to the family, and that just gets Kuji wrapped up in this trouble that he's caused. But then you really find that he really wanted for them to have their own life together away from everything and that they could
Yeah.
grow up in peace. But that doesn't happen because his brother does end up getting shot and passes away, which causes a lot of drama for the last 2 episodes of this series. Really didn't like Kuji the first. I think I only liked him in episode 10 and 11 because he's really just annoying. I don't know. How do you feel about him?
He definitely plays that whole emo kid, very, very to his core. Like he's the one who goes back and forth between I want to be friends with these guys, but no, never mind. I do, but I don't kind of thing. Like it gets very, yeah, that part gets very annoying. There's always that one character that they don't see what's right in front of them, or they're trying to be friends with him. They're trying to get him to join them, or something like that, and then it ends up kind of backfiring. He's basically the whole reason for a good portion of the ending plot.
It's so rough because I just think if we just hugged all these guys, it could have solved a lot of these problems. Everyone needed a hug in this anime, really, because yeah, he if he would just stay with his aunt and uncle, then none of this would have happened with his brother, and then him keeping that gun. So it's just he's a tough one to love, but there were moments like remember when he said he was going to join them on the soccer team?
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorite parts.
And I felt like at that moment, it was like, finally, we've all found a home. And then his brother comes back in the picture, kind of ruins it. Uh,
Yeah, it's very deceiving because I think it's the opening song. It's literally all three of them like walking together or something like that with Kazuki's arms around both of the other boys and they're all like smiling and happy. You never get that. That is
oh,
such a
yeah. Like at
deceiving
the
scene.
end,
Yes.
okay. Which just jump. Like, I do think you get that at the very, very, okay. You watched it all the way through, right?
Yes, how there's an ending and then there's the end credits and then there's an end credit scene and then it goes to another ending credits and yeah, like it was kind of excessive, but I wasn't mad about it. I was just waiting for something more fulfilling as an ending.
This show loves its end credits. Like, they love something after the credits.
Yes, they do.
But at the very end, there's the 3 of them as kappas, and they're, like, hugging each other on the little boat. They're on top of the boat. And I was like, "That's that moment." They're just kappas now.
Yeah, yeah, it was interesting. I thought it was kind of cool, not cool, but like something I just wasn't expecting for it to actually happen where Toy does end up going to juvie and he's there for I think it said 3 years, and, it's really sad when you see it because he just seems like an empty shell, and I kept thinking over and over again, I'm like, "Surely they're gonna show a scene with the boys visiting him while he's there." And they don't show that. Instead, gets to 3 years later, he's freed, and he immediately goes to the bridge, and he just jumps off. And I'm like, "Are they really just ending it like this? Like, what the heck?" But then the other 2 show up jumping off the bridge right after him, and they're all in the water, and they get out of the water, and he basically just says, "Don't you know I'm sick of you guys?" And, like, that's how they ended it. After they're all like, "Hey, buddy, we missed you." To me, that's what the rating that I do give this anime, that's why I give it that rating, is because of the way it ends.
Oh, I thought that was like, "Oh, that's Koji." Like, that is that's something, like, he would say. And then they 'cause they're friends now that they know he really means that he loves us. I liked it because it was in character. Because it would've been weird if he was like, "I really missed you guys." I feel like
Okay,
that would've been
fair.
slightly out of character.
I would agree with you.
But he said it
I
with
don't
a
know.
smile, so I thought
I think it was weird that they switched directions on who the main character was from the beginning of the series, with it being more about Kazuki to now being about like towards the end, the finale was kind of between all three of them, but also the attention switched to Toy, and then the ending, the end credit scene was all about Toy. So I feel like there wasn't really much of an ending for the other two. Like, what have they been doing for the last 3 years?
finishing school.
I guess.
Well, they were in their uniforms still when they jumped into the water. I just think for him, I would have loved this to be like 24 episodes for sure. Because it just felt so sudden. Every time there was a little moment of happiness, we couldn't let sit in it for a little bit. It was quickly taken away from us. And I know people hate filler episodes, but this is kind of why I love filler episodes. It gives us a breath in that moment, a breath in that anime, in the show, where the characters can live in that peaceful moment for a second. And I would have loved a filler. The episode where he decides to join them on the soccer team, they never, I believe, I believe this is all happening during like a summer break because they never go to school. So I think it would have been nice to see them play soccer or do a game together, had a match or something, instead of just him saying that he wants to join them and then him being taken away. That happened so quickly. All these moments, it's like we don't get to breathe. We don't get to enjoy this little happiness with them. And maybe that's the point of this anime, but I think it would have done better with that. And now it's making me question my rating.
Making you think.
It is. I might be changing my rating as we go through. There's just like a couple of side characters. I actually let's just go through these two. There are two that I really want to hit, and if you want to hit the like a different other one, let me know. But the two I really want to talk about, and these are characters. I'm gonna lump them together because they're basically a duo. Is characters I hated in the beginning, and I thought were so stupid. I was like, why do we even need them? They don't seem like they're doing anything. To me, being like, I just want the world for them, and I'm crying for them. Please, I just need you guys to be happy. These two have stole the show for me at the end, and it's Mabu and Rio.
Yeah, they are definitely because it was crazy how we didn't even really figure out who they were or what they were doing. I don't know. It took like a solid, I think, 5 episodes for me to realize who they even were. Like, I just kept getting this random musical number that they do every episode, and I had no idea what it was about.
Mabu
It
and Rio, they are little police officers, and like David was saying, what it's like a police meeting or something like that, or some kind of briefing meeting, and they just stand up and they do a full song and dance, and a very erotic dance.
yes, 100%.
And really, they do this ever since they're introduced. I think they're introduced episode either 2 or 3. And ever since that episode, they do it every episode. And we don't really know why until like episode 9 or something like that, 8 or 9, of who they really are. But we just get these cutaway scenes of them dancing.
And then it turns out one's more annoying than the other. And then the other, Rayo, is very upset with Mabu because he doesn't show any more emotion anymore like he used to, or is never around him anymore. And even though he wants him, and it's just very, very interesting dynamic. But you don't get like you basically get their whole plot line, their whole story at the very end as well.
Which I wish there was more of them. I wish they had more to do in the episodes. I wish they were kind of more. They work for the otters, who are the evil people, but they're not necessarily doing. I don't know what they're doing. It's not. They never seem to like plot out the things. They kind of have knowledge of whose desire is being taken over and them turning into the zombies, but they're not. It doesn't show them actively helping out. So it's very confusing of what is really your plot, what are you really adding to this plot of the otters? But then you also are a couple, or are they not a couple? Because one is really into the other, and the other one doesn't seem like he's into like
No
it seems
interest.
Rio is really into Mabu, and it just seems Mabu is like emotionless, like you said, just kind of nothing, giving him nothing. So it's just really weird
Yeah.
until the end. Until the end, and then I turned. This is like I'm not gonna spoil anything, but at the time of recording this, like Demon Slayer Infinity Castle just came out. I had a turn, as I did have a turn in that movie. If you watch Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, there is a character that I totally shifted on and now feel extremely bad for that I shouldn't. And that's what happened in this anime. I feel like Mabu and Rio story got unveiled to me, and I'm like, this is like so heartbreaking. I'm so sad right now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely again, like you said, I wish there was more to their story. They gave enough to where like you now know the story and it's heartbreaking, but it would have been nice to see more of them if they were able to actually show more of them together. Even if it was like a like more flashbacks. Like before he couldn't provide any sort of emotion. Like what were they like beforehand? Because they don't do that enough, in my opinion, to actually show what their relationship was like.
Well, we do find out that they were in love with each other.
Yes.
Or they still are in love with each other. But there was an accident and Mabu's heart had to be replaced.
Yep.
And the otters replaced it. And then the otters were like, well, if you ever tell Rio that you are in love with him, then your heart will explode. Because they hate desire. Is that right? Like they don't, because he was like, desire is weakness or something like that. But then I felt like they're fueled on desire.
Yeah, like it's part of their whole musical number. And then it's
Oh,
the whole concept of the Otter Empire, which by the way, that's the name I found. It's the Otter
the Otter
Empire.
Empire.
Yeah.
The Otter Empire. I wonder now. I'm just like now. I'm thinking in my head. I wonder if they made that Mabu couldn't tell Rio that he was in love with him still. because they wanted Rio's desire to be heightened, and this would just only fuel it. And then this would also give Mabu a secret desire that would be fueled too. So it's more energy for the otters.
That would make sense because watching the show and realizing that they used to transform into kappas as well. But then when whatever accident happened. Well, did that accident happen before or after the Otter Empire War?
Well, when Mabu is waking up, the otter is like, "You were hurt." When Rio is waking up, actually, he's like, "You were hurt during the war on the Kappa planet." Okay, and this brings me to another question. I don't know if you'll know, because I barely know, and I've watched this like 3 times, 3 or 4 times. That are they not from Earth? Are they from the Kappa planet as well?
I don't remember there ever being a Kappa planet, but
Well, no, because he's from the other like world,
it's like a
Cappy.
spiritual plane.
Are they from that plane? Because they exploded in the war, right? And that's
Uh,
why he's here.
Kepi
Yeah.
is just the Kappa
But
kingdom.
but where is that? On another, like, plane of existence? Like, another layer?
Like it may be similar to like kind of like the whole spirit realm kind of thing, like where it's part of Earth, but it's not.
But there was a battle on that with the otters. Well, I just wonder if Rio and Mabu are from that.
They were.
So they're not Earth people. They're spiritual people.
I think so.
Okay. Well, regardless, they were in love, and then the otters used Mabu against Rio. Or they like had this thing against each other. And then there's a flashback, and then you find out like what truly happened. And this otter, dude, this otter doctor, no good. But yeah, we find out that because they go back into Kappa form, Mabu and Rio, and then we get to see the secret, and we find out that Mabu really still does have feelings, and he only made the deal to be emotionless to stay alive because he knew that that Rio needed him and that he needed to be with Rio. And he was like, if this is the only way I could be with him, then this is the only way I can be with him, even though it's gonna hurt both of us.
Okay, so I figured it out. So they were listed under yokai on Wikipedia, but it does specifically state that both Reo and Mabu they are Kappa who once served as knights to Kepi. Because Kepi, the main Kappa character, I was hoping we were going to talk about him next as well, but
Oh, I mean, we can.
he's the prince of the Kappa kingdom. So it's funny because he's like basically very serving to the humans and everything else, but he is the prince of the Kappa kingdom. And so Reo and Mabu used to serve under him as Kappa knights.
Interesting that he still needs a heart, though. If he's
Yes.
like a yokai, which is like a ghost or spirit, right?
Yeah, they are creatures in Japanese folklore. They're basically mythological creatures in Japanese folklore. They can range from like ghosts, but like ghosts or spirits, monsters, anything that basically like defies human understanding. It's like
Uh,
basically that whole realm of yokai.
I only think of Yokai Watch when I think of yokai.
That's definitely a fun version of yokai, but not quite well,
But those two, that is the love story here, though. That is like, I think that's where you get it all. And I know it's so short because basically it's 2 episodes worth of stuff, but that's where I got my love story. I feel for them. And then they come back and are they reborn or are they just ghosts or something like that? But we see them together again.
I think their souls are spared as they go back to being Kappa.
But we see them as like little rickshaw drivers in the end.
I don't know. I
Regardless,
don't
I
know.
hope they're together and I hope they're happy. In my mind, they're together again and they're happy because they both die. And we'll talk about this in our favorite parts, but there is a really sad part in the show that involves those two at the end. So you want to talk about Kepi?
I love Kepi.
Okay.
He, again, I already sort of brought him up, but he's the prince of the Kappa kingdom. Um, he is the whole reason why this show is a thing was because the statue that breaks belongs to Kepi. He is the prince, so you essentially it kind of goes hand in hand with Japanese folklore, where you need to be polite, respectful to Kappa because they are usually polite and respectful back. But he basically chooses his next knights or his next warriors or whatever, and that's where he chooses these 3 boys and turns them into Kappa, and then he uses them to basically fight all of these Kappa zombies. But he is funny. He has no regard to like half of the problems that these guys are going through. You just see him like randomly sitting behind them or even in the front part of the screen, just enjoying his nice cucumbers and letting the drama play out. But he's fun. His final form it does not make sense whatsoever, but I love it when he turns humanoid
I
in the
hate
middle
it.
of the the
I
the Kappa
I hate
transformation.
that. I hate that form so much. I hate it.
Wait, the final form
It's
or the form
the
during the
final form.
transformation? Yeah.
No, when he's like a prince, and was it Sarah turns into like the
Yeah,
Kappa princess?
Sarah is a Kappa. She's been a Kappa this whole time.
Oh my! I wish he would have turned more. Like I wish he would have just met her in the human form.
It was interesting.
He is the comic relief. Like he is
Absolutely.
so funny. He's great. The way he turns them into kappas. Where was he? They go through his mouth and then he poops them out.
Well, he basically goes for their the organ in the anus. If I
Yes,
can't remember what it's called again.
the Shiriko Dama.
He goes for their Shirikodama, so it's whenever they're turning away from him that he basically sucks them out of their clothes and like from their butt and then basically consumes them, wears them. Like he goes into like some humanoid form, like basically puts his skin onto their bodies. And then it goes into another scene where he's taking the Shirikodama out of their butts, and then they turn into the Kappa by he poops them out.
Yeah, they come out like a little egg kind of thing, like a
It's
little
we
membrane.
it
It
with
is,
no context, with that being one of the first things that happens in this entire show, it is wild.
though it doesn't happen too often. I think it only happens a couple of times, and then they just skip it,
Yeah,
or they do it in shadow.
right.
So you don't have to watch all the time.
But them dancing is so fun.
When they're taking the desire out, when they're getting the Shirikodama.
Yes. Yeah, and, like, the whole water surfing. It's funny because it reminds me of Pokemon's very own Kappa Pokemon that they have, the Ludicolo line, 'cause
Oh,
Ludicolo is a dancer, like, it is a Kappa, and so that's kinda where
oh.
they got that inspiration from, was from that, mythological creature.
But are there any other characters you want to talk about before we move on to our favorite moments?
I mean, no, I mean, everybody we've basically mentioned in some way, shape, or form, whether it was Kazuki's brother Haruka, who I thought genuinely was a girl until he finally said his brother. But then you have Sarah, the the YouTuber or whatever, the star. And then we don't need to talk about Toy's brother
Do you have any favorite moments that you want to shout out that we haven't talked about yet?
that we haven't talked about. I don't know, because again, my favorite moments usually revolved around like the usual anime transformation, and then it led to those musical moments where each of the boys are for their own episodes of their own storylines. The songs were catchy as all get out. Again, Miguel watching this with me, and we were both just dying laughing because we're all like, we didn't realize we were watching an anime musical. It's just so much fun, especially when they're just like little kappa dancing. It was great. I loved episode 3 where we learn about Enta's crush because I don't personally, I have not been able to watch a whole lot of anime with LGBT storylines in them. So it was just kind of nice to get a little bit of that, even though it was not really followed up with whatsoever.
Are there any other moments that you really liked?
Out of those, no, because again, those were the consistent moments I think I liked best. I'm trying to think of any others. I really the moment at the very end where when they're trying to decide who's going to take the plate or who's going to use the dishes of hope. Toy has Kazuki at gunpoint while Enta is a kappa because he's basically in that spirit realm while his body is dying. And he has 40 seconds to decide whether to give the dishes to Toy at gunpoint or to use them to save his best friend. And it was such a heart wrenching moment because you feel for all three of the boys at that point. But it's like, dude, you're trying to make a wish on your brother who's dead while you have a friend right there in front of you that's dying, actively dying. Like, please let your friend make that choice, which he
That
does ultimately do.
Yeah, that moment was so hard because, again, as that moment's happening, the clock is ticking, and every now and then it'll be like 30 seconds left, 14 seconds left. And it'll tell you like that. And that episode ends without It says 0 seconds left, and then the episode ends, and you don't know
Yep,
what happens.
nothing. Yeah, nothing after that.
I love this anime. I recommend this anime, or else we wouldn't be talking about it really. But those last 2 episodes are so good. They're like so good. Those last 2 episodes, 10 and 11.
They were the
It's
pinnacle
the
of
payoff of
yes.
everything.
Yeah, I agree. They were the peak of the entire season, and just
Yeah.
yeah, it was really good.
I just think like my 2 favorite things come from those last 2 episodes. I think one of my saddest moments, I'm not gonna it's a moment that I remember. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite moment because I feel that's joyful, but the moment where Mabu dies finally because he reveals his desire for Reo and he dies. And then once you die, kind of your memory gets erased from the world. And Reo's there and he can't remember Mabu anymore. And that part really broke me. And it was really sad for me. Just where he's like, there's someone I think he's like, I feel like I remember someone, but I cannot remember them. And he's disappearing from his mind as that moment goes on. And for me, that was just like heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm not it will literally make me cry whenever shows or movies or stories just go into the whole, you're losing memory of somebody. It's like anybody, like I when it was happening, it immediately made me think of, Harry Potter, where Hermione had to
Yeah.
make her parents had to forget or had to make her parents forget who she was. Like, things like that it's like that sacrifice to, like, whether it's the greater good or to get rid of pain, I don't know. I hate those. I love hate them because it's entertainment, but like you said, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and throughout the show, we've seen it happen before with other people where they're kind of just erased from people's memory. But at this moment, it was very tough watching because you knew they were in love with each other, and just seeing Rayo be like, "I remember someone, but I can't like I remember that I love someone, but I can't remember them." That was very rough, especially learning their backstory that episode. And just lastly, for me, another one that I really loved was just at the end when they're trying to when they finally all meet in the spirit area and then they're like, we want to keep our friendship together. We don't want to be apart anymore. We want our connections to be as one. And I love a story about friendship. So that one, I really love that moment when they were like, we don't want to lose each other ever.
Absolutely, I agree. The friendship storylines get me every time.
And last, I got to shout out. Okay, I am a dog person. I love dogs. I'm a dog guy. I believe you're a dog person as well because you got
I like both dogs
dogs.
and cats.
I love anime cats though. Anime cats are the best thing in the world. Anime cats are so cool. Cat if more cats are like anime cats, and maybe they are, maybe I just haven't given cats enough chance. I'm just saying, my friends that do have cats, your cats aren't that friendly, and I want to pet them and hug them, and they want to hide from me. Maybe it's me. Who knows? But I want to shout out the cat in this anime because I think he's like, he shows up here and there, but he's really funny. Is it a he or is it a she? Do you remember the cat in
I
this show?
yeah, but
Natsuro?
I think it was a boy.
See, I thought it was a boy, but then at the end credits, it shows the cat and there's 3 kittens next to it, and they're all like waving.
Oh, that's true. I don't know. It
So,
might be a girl.
but this cat is awesome. I love this cat. Shout out. And if you love anime with cats, there is a cat in this one, so you'll probably love it. I guess just real quick, I know we're like wrapping up a little bit. I think we talked about the themes about it a little bit, but do you have anything else you add about any themes that stuck out to you in this anime?
Outside of like the connections and the trying to understand differences between, love and desire, things that we have already gone over. And you honestly just going back to that friendship as well, because all three of these kids were at some point in time in a hard place, and it's very clear that they needed each other. And so that friendship it can mean a lot if they value it the way they should.
Yeah, I definitely, for me, there was a lot to take away from this anime, just about kind of like you need to communicate and you need to understand there are people you can trust and there are people that want to listen to you and want to help you. And I think that's what all 3 of these boys were learning along this journey, that they didn't feel like they could trust anyone with their secrets or with whatever was holding them back. And then once they were able to find that friendship with each other, they were able to let these things go, even though some of it was forceful through the desires being revealed. But yeah, for me, it was just connections and communication is kind of like the themes that I took from this.
Right, right.
Well, lastly, every anime we give it a rating. And we have our own little rating scale. And if you would like to see that rating scale, please check out our Instagram and there will be a little post there with it. So, David, according to our rating scale, what do you give this show and what are your kind of final thoughts about it?
I'm going to give it the mouth-watering rating. Oh, what is that? Like about a 4 out of 5, something like that. I absolutely love the anime, but it definitely left me wanting more. Even if it was another season, even like if you said, even if it went up to 24 episodes, it was so much fun that there were just a few bits and pieces that like a few loose ends that needed to be tied up.
Okay, so David can see my review of it, but I am changing it up, doing an audible here. And I'm also going to go with mouth-watering because now that I've talked it out with someone else, I do wish this, I don't want another season. I want more of this season. I would love it if this was 24 episodes. I wish we could have dived more into everyone's story. I feel like there's a lot of story we're missing, a lot of stuff that we could hear about, and a lot of people's lives we could dive more deep into that we didn't just get a chance with 11 episodes. But I think it ended so well. I love the ending. I kind of like it open ended where they're just friends and their life is kind of just starting over again. They're starting a new leaf, or I don't know, that makes sense. Their life is just beginning. It's a new journey, new chapter. But I do think there's more story involved in the middle part, or even maybe a prequel, huh? Like with Mabu and Rio and everyone. That could be something.
I think it would be
Uh
cool to see the Otter War, the Kappa War.
yeah, I wouldn't even mind if it's just like a one-shot manga of
Yeah.
that, like a few chapters of that. Like and so I do think mouth-watering is right for it because I want more because I think there's more story in there, if that makes sense. But everything I love. I love the story. I love the message behind it. I love how all the characters are. I love the art. I love the music. I know I really haven't talked about theme songs yet in the show, but like these two, the themes, opening and ending song, those have been added to my playlist. I love them so much.
Yeah, same. I've already added them to my Spotify list as well.
That's why I had to change it to a different rating because I do think there's stuff that's left to be desired. There's more in there. Speaking of desire, but those are just our opinions. But we would love to hear what y'all's thoughts are about this season. So please leave us a comment telling us your favorite moments, your favorite characters, what you want more of, what you want less of, anything you want to talk about this season of anime. But you can find us on Instagram or Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever else, hopefully, we're on. And they're all going to be at Anime Bento Pod. You can find me at Jimsa2.
You can find me at Epically Dave
And that's all we have for this week. Until next time, stay legendary.
and stay epic.
Bye.
Bye.
Open the box, what will it be? A world of wonders, just wait and see. Big eyes, big dreams in every scene. It's anime bento, it's your routine. Laugh, cry, shout, let it all flow. Heroes, villains, battles will grow. Grab your chopsticks, here we go. Anime bento steals the show. Slice of life or action pack, romance twists or demons attack. Every flavor, every track. Anime bento keeps you coming back. Tune in now, don't be slow. It's anime bento. Let's start the show.